Hi. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite changes about myself. And you know, it's got some lighthearted things, it's got some deep things, and we're going to be doing my makeup as I do this. I got my Starbucks. We are going to be doing a makeup, a little something like that. I also got some new makeup that I'm going to be trying today. Going to be doing my makeup on the floor. I'm going to try to tell y'all the stuff that I'm using, but once I get talking, you know, it's difficult. First of all, this e.l.f. Power Grip primer. This one is the 4% niacinamide. Before I start telling y'all about my favorite changes about myself, I want to let y'all know today hubby and I are going to Goodwill. So let's get started. First thing on my list is taking my sweet time. I used to think that I thrived off of like girl boss culture, you know, waking up at 4 a.m. I have a video about me waking up at 4 a.m. That was around the time. Something that I do not do well at is rushing, and I thought that that was, you know, like a character flaw. Turns out some people thrive with a ton of structure and some people do not. I think structure is still important, but you know, I think it's a balance. I don't need a morning routine where I'm doing 1,000 things in 1 hour. That actually exhausts me. I love taking my sweet time in the mornings when I'm getting ready. One of my favorite things, get ready and listen to like almost like listen to a YouTube documentary, some sort of like drama, and that's one of my favorite things to do. And instead of like berating myself about that, I'm like, this helps me thrive. This is what fills my cup so that my shoulders are not always tight. So if there is a time where I cannot be as stressed about something, I might as well take the opportunity because I'm trying to live to be 100 years old. First thing that I'm doing with my eyeshadow is I am taking this cream concealer pack from NYX. I'm just taking the lightest shade and putting it on my eyelids just as like a base color. I'm out of breath, y'all. I'm out of breath just from existing. So I'm sorry that y'all always have to hear my breathing now, but that's a part of my chronic illness. There's a possibility I might have POTS. We're still trying to figure out what chronic illness I have. Another change that I love about myself is that I now see the gray area in situations. I grew up being very black and white. I said in my last video, my family is very deep thinkers. You know, there's definitely things where, you know, they are just black and white, but when it comes to like everyday situations, it's not always that case. First of all, that I'm not always right. And I'm a very passionate person. Like I said, like everyone in my family is very passionate, which is a good thing to have, but also learning that not everything is the end of the world, that just because someone forgets something, for instance, something very random, doesn't mean that I am no longer loved and that the world is ending and that things are going to change. And part of that could be my OCD talking. You know, just because something happens does not mean that they're wrong, that I'm right, or that even I'm no longer loved. Some things are neutral. We're supposed to be diverse people. We're supposed to have diverse thoughts. We're supposed to have diverse passions. That doesn't mean that everything's wrong. But I also want to say that there are definitely things that are black and white. Another change that I'm loving about myself is that I'm speaking with salt and light. I've been just speaking with light for quite a while now, and I'm finally getting my voice back. I've had a few friendship situations where I didn't feel like I could speak up for myself. I always didn't want to come across as like a monster, for instance. And so I've always been very passionate about be kinder than what you feel. And I think that is a very good virtue to have, to not be ruled by anger or frustration or annoyance. That's a virtue that I also carry into my marriage. But it's also important that you do speak in salt as well. There's actually scripture about that. I'm learning to stand up for myself again. And just because I stand up for myself, that does not mean that I am an unkind person. That means that I have things that I believe in, and I have ways that I should be treated, and I should feel empowered enough to speak up that way. And if someone really does love me, they're not gonna think I'm mean if I'm using salt in my speech, like if I'm being a little bit more blunt. There's a balance. So I'm learning to not be a pushover. This is a great one that I've learned, and I am so very passionate about this one. I've learned that encouragement is not just positivity. Like if someone makes a dark joke, you're not just like, oh no, don't say that. That's not gonna help you. That's not right for you to say that in the midst of this situation. But they're going through a really hard time. Encouragement is actually meeting them where they're at, because if you're if they're making a dark joke and you're like, no, don't say that, you shouldn't say that, then they're gonna feel alone and they're gonna be like, well, this is how I cope. And if this is how I cope and this person says that I shouldn't say that, then that means I'm alone. And that sounds like overthinking, but that's a lot of how the registration of that type of behavior works. So I've learned that encouragement is not just about, positivity. Like, you're gonna get through this. You can do hard things. Like, yes, those are very important things to say, but also meet that person where they're at. If they say a dark joke, laugh, because then that makes them feel less alone. And when people are going through really hard times, they don't need a pep talk. They just need to be held. And that's true encouragement right there. Encouragement is not a facade. Humanity needs the community. At the same time, while I am, joking back at them or just laughing at their jokes, I'm also speaking light into them so that it does lift up their spirits. It's not a condemning thing like you're doing something wrong. It's like, hey, I see you and we're gonna get through this together. And it's strengthening that person, not just throwing them in the dirt, if that makes sense. And so I've really loved that take on encouragement, and I think this world really needs more of that instead of just making people feel isolated in their pain. Pain hurts, and it's okay if our speech reflects that pain. Obviously, we don't need to be ruled by that pain, but sometimes you can't really do that on your own, and you need someone's help to help you not get ruled by that pain. Kind of along with that, the next one is, you've healed when you're helping someone to see them thrive and out of excitement, rather than just giving your younger self what you needed when you were alone. Like, when you're helping someone, you're not helping them out of the motivation to be that person that you needed when you were younger. You start taking yourself out of the equation more, if that makes sense. And I'm not meaning this in a toxic way, of course, but you start having more eyes on them and you're not soothing the pain that you experienced in those times that you felt alone. I think it's a great motivator, of course, to help people, especially when you are getting out of a hard time. Hey, I'm gonna be this help that I needed. You've healed when you're just helping a person because you love helping. You want to see them succeed. You love that person so much that you're excited for them. For this purple that I've put on my eyes, I've used this LA Colors Bright palette. I've also used the Anastasia Cosmos palette, and I've used the color Eclipse to darken. And then this is a new one that I got yesterday, e.l.f. Single Shadow, and I've been wanting a white one like this. I have the Urban Decay Moon Dust one. This one is Diamond Dog, and then I have it also in Space Cowboy. These are great, but I also wanted a white one. I've heard really great things about this. Ooh, yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty. Another change I love about myself, I have gained 30 pounds. I look back at my old videos and I'm just like, I was so thin. I thought I was all kinds of muscular. I thought I looked strong, and instead I look back at those videos and I'm like, ooh girl, you can tell that you were malnourished. As someone who has gone through an eating disorder since I was 14, I'm 22 now. This is the first time that I've gained weight. So I made a YouTube short about this, but I'm 5'7", and the lightest that I've been while at this height is 119 pounds. And that is so unhealthy. And I also have broad bones, like I have broad shoulders. I've always had a very naturally muscular build. I was a muscular baby. My body needs a little bit more pizzazz. It needs a little bit more filling. And I was terrified to gain weight. I was so scared because I know where I carry my fat and I wanted to still look pretty. To be honest, I wanted to have a good body. I liked how tiny my waist was. I liked that you could finally see my abs, because at that time I thought I was only pretty and attractive if I had abs. I loved the shape that I was finally getting, and I was afraid that if I would gain weight, I would lose shape. You saw the difference between my waist and my hips. I know I hold my weight in my stomach and my face, and then it wasn't until we moved here to Washington that I finally started gaining weight. And now I'm actually not as insecure about my body. I'm 150 pounds as I'm filming this. And to be honest, it's still difficult for me, because I've had an eating disorder. And so those habits can still be there where I unintentionally look at food as a reward system. Like, I have to make my bed, I have to clean the house, and I have to shower, and then I can eat, because then I won't feel so lazy, because apparently eating made me feel lazy. you're fueling your body. You need food. I realize that I can still have that mindset, but I've loved the 30 pounds. Like I feel more womanly. I've actually gotten even more curves because of that. One of my biggest insecurities when I was really thin, my legs. Thought I had chicken legs, and that was the big reason why I was working out as much as I was. I was working out like 6 days a week for like 4 hours. I train legs like 4 times a week. Because I wanted bigger legs. Now that I've gained 30 pounds, I don't feel that way anymore. I actually really like my legs now. And so some of the things that I was insecure about then have kind of like drifted away. I guess because, you know, I'm not malnourished and my brain actually has enough fuel to work properly as well. I don't want you to misunderstand. I do still have insecurities. I can get insecure about my double chin because I have a double chin again. I have a little bit more filling out on my face. I've curled my lashes. I've done a little bit of eyeshadow eyeliner stuff. Next thing that I'm loving. I don't really have any aspirations in life right now. I have no goals. I'm just going with the flow of life. Instead of trying to always stay in that mindset of self-improvement, something needs to always get better, I think it definitely harvests a mindset of discontentment. What I'm really focusing on right now is that I am loved, and unconditionally so, and that I'm enough. I don't need to prove myself to anybody. I just need to rest. This is a new foundation from L'Oreal. It's True Match, but it's a tinted serum. Sometimes I don't want a skin tint. Sometimes I don't even want a foundation. I want something in the middle, and I think this is going to be a good something in the middle. Another thing that helps me thrive that I've just learned to accept is that sometimes I need a break from people. It's just reality for me. I used to be very extroverted. Now I think with all the things that have happened in my life and, you know, all my mental health stuff, sometimes I just need time away from people, and sometimes that's a week, sometimes it's even up to a month. The key to that is having people in your life that also share in those same values. I shouldn't trigger a flare-up because then I'm bedridden for a while, and then in turn I'm actually able to show up for people better. I'm able to be a better friend. I like this. I like this. Now I got the e.l.f. 16-hour camo concealer. Oh, that's a good color. Ooh, that's good. That's good. I'm going to use this Heart mascara. I'm also allowing myself to be so bad at something. I want to do martial arts. I've taken like 2 classes before, and I was so humiliated at how bad I felt doing it. So I just felt like I had to be perfect at something. And I'm a person that has like 25 hobbies. So me being bad at something, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a hit to the ego. Even in singing, I've been singing my whole life, and I used to be much better at it than what I am now. I still think I have really amazing skills. I'm not as good at ad-libbing, for instance, as what I used to be. I'm very late to the belting game. If you don't know what that is, it's a singing technique to get more power into your voice. You're supposed to develop belting between ages 15 and 16, and I never got that. Now I finally figured out belting, and it is a difficult technique because it's a technique that I've just started developing. I'm still working on my range, and I've been a soprano pretty much all my life, but I'm not able to sing as high with my belting, and honestly it sounds pretty bad. Very shaky. I'm not very confident in it. I was embarrassed to sing in front of Luke for a long time, not because he made that atmosphere, but because I hadn't sung in front of people in a long time. Fun fact, I grew up singing in front of like 5,000 people because there was a huge Easter presentation that my church had produced. My dad was the worship pastor. I was either the backup plan, you know, hey Amy, this person wasn't able to make it, so I need you to sing. So I started singing in the church in front of all those people at the age of 5. I even had a few solos when I was in preschool. I had met Luke going to a different church that my dad wasn't serving at. I didn't get involved in the music ministry there, and so I hadn't sung in front of people in about 3 years or something. And so now Luke and I have been together for, you know, like 6 years, and so I was really scared to sing in front of him. It's not as polished. I'm still able to like hear 6-part harmony. I'm still able to do a lot of amazing things. I'm just not at the point that I want to be. My point is developing belting has definitely been teaching me to be better bad at something in order to get better, because now I sound like a dying chicken when I'm trying to belt. I've actually made a lot of progress. It's not as much of a dying chicken now. My voice still does like crack. My last favorite change about myself, not putting myself in even more pain so I can handle the daily pain better. What I used to do, like I said, I used to get up at 4 a.m. Yeah, we all know that now. I'm using the NYX blush. Listed all the things that I would try to do to get through OCD on a daily basis, and it came to a number of 50 things, and I did that every single day. I was making myself miserable. It was almost like trying to expand my limit. Now I don't do that. Like, I used to run in the freezing cold rain every single day. I used to hold snow as I was running, you know, just to try to like reset my nervous system. I would take cold showers. I'd read self-help books. One thing after another, just exhausting. The fact that it came to a number of 50 things is insane. That's what I felt like I had to do in order to survive. Life is hard enough.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry about this mess. I was trying to figure out what to wear. I'm just gonna finish this video out on my phone so that I don't have to keep waiting for my GoPro to cool down. I feel for Amy of 2 years ago now. You know, she was going through a lot. And now I think the way I can sum up everything is I'm just not living on hard mode anymore. I'm just living. Finally breathing. I'm just putting on a bunch of random lip stuff till I get what I want. I forgot to tell y'all at the beginning, this is a heatless hairstyle, so we're also going to take that out together.
These rough days of my mind, leave these rough days far behind. You see them change, they're leaving every which way.
Here's the
And
eyeshadow.
these are strange.
Here's the outfit. I am ready to go thrifting. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you on